Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom, and I would like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar. Today's host is Jason Hayes. He'll be presenting today, and if anyone has any questions, submit them in the question box, and Jason will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Jason, for being here, I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Thanks, Julie. I appreciate the opportunity. Microcom team, it is always good to be here and to be able to present some new information to you. Today is a bit of a recap. We're going to be talking about SureCall consumer product overview, just kind of sticking with the consumer side of the world and going over the basics of what SureCall has to offer for the average consumer. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to participate. Let's just jump right into it. These are the topics that we're going to cover. Who is SureCall? What causes a weak or a poor cellular signal? And then, of course, we'll get into our product overview for consumer solutions only. Keep in mind, we do have some big, powerful industrial strength solutions, but we're not going to get into that today, just the consumer solutions for now. And then we'll talk a little bit about tech support and our digital asset library as well. So jumping right in here, who is SureCall? SureCall is the performance leader in cell phone signal booster technology. We have been in business for about 14 years and have our main office is in Fremont, California. We also have offices in St. George, Utah, in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've got a team of people that are kind of spread out throughout the U.S. and Canada. But our focus is creating cell phone signal boosters with superior technology so that we can improve the ability for people to stay connected to their cell service in their home, in their office, in their vehicle, what have you. And SureCall has actually won several awards for leading in performance and technology, which we're very, very proud of. Most of you probably know what causes a poor cellular signal. It can range from anything from building materials like metal roof or metal studs in a building to a lot of concrete or even metallic window tint. Terrain is also an issue. If you're very remote or distance from the cell tower, can also cause a degraded cell signal. Dropped calls and poor cell signal, those are problems that everybody experiences sooner or later. I don't know that I can talk to anybody and say, you know, where do you experience the most dropped calls? And I very rarely get people answering, oh, nowhere, I don't have an issue with that. Most of the time, people have an issue somewhere, and they use their phones all over. Even if they're at work and they have a landline and an office phone, you know, they're still checking their email on their phone, or they're still texting their wife or their husband or what have you. And we're very, very reliant on our cell phones. And most people experience degraded signal, a slow connection, or even a dropped call sooner or later. For me, it's my commute. I have about a 45-minute commute from home to office, and I'm in southern Utah, so I live about, you know, an hour and a half outside the Grand Canyon and in some pretty rugged, remote areas. And on my drive, I know there's 2 or 3 spots that if I'm on the phone, I'm going to drop that call. So everybody's got these issues. This is a hugely untapped market, even though we've been in business a long, long time, and there are a few major competitors out there that are doing a similar type of a thing. Most people don't know that there's a solution for dropping calls or poor cell signal, and they think it's all about the carrier. The carrier definitely has something to do with it, but typically if you're dropping a call because of the 3 things that we talked about, building materials, distance from the cell tower, or just your geographical area being very remote, those are things that the carrier probably isn't going to address. You know, you're going to need to look at a different solution. But a lot of consumers will just throw their arms up and go, oh yeah, I'm switching to Verizon, or man, Verizon sucks in my area, I'm going to switch to AT&T. And when you present customers with a solution that is a one-time purchase that works for any phone, any carrier, you'll be amazed at the results. So let's get into our 2017 consumer product overview. We will have some new products that we'll be unveiling in 2018, and I'll be pleased to present those to you in a 2018 webinar when it's appropriate. On the in-building solution side, you'll notice we're just going to focus on those 3 home office products on the left. Those are really our consumer category: the EZ4G, the Flare, and the Fusion for Home. The ones on the right, those are the big, heavy-duty industrial, much larger area boosters that I alluded to earlier that we're not going to talk about today. But feel free to ask questions about those at the end if you have any, and I'll be happy to answer them. And pardon me, I'm just on the tail end of a cold that I've been fighting for about 4 or 5 days. Hopefully I won't be hacking too much as we go through this. Keep in mind as we talk about the consumer products that all of SureCall's boosters are sold as complete kits. So they include the antennas for the inside and the outside, as well as the booster, the cabling, the connectors, everything that the consumer needs to make this happen out of the box. Fairly straightforward. These are all FCC and Industry Canada and carrier approved, and they all come with a 3-year warranty, lifetime pre- and post-sales support, tech support, etc., and a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So your customer can purchase this without fear of, is this really going to work or not? Because they have 60 days. If it doesn't work in their area for whatever reason, or if they're just not satisfied, they can return it, and we will stand behind that return. So the Fusion for Home, I know that most of you are familiar with this because this is really, when it comes to SureCall, this is Microcom's bread and butter. You guys sell a ton of these. I always say that. It has not changed, so we appreciate that. The Fusion for Home really is a perfect product for a full home or even an office on a consumer level. It improves voice and data signal for all carriers in areas up to 4,000 square feet. And we have kits that include a Yagi outside antenna or an omnidirectional outside antenna, dome or panel indoor antennas, and I know Microcom kind of has their favorite, but just keep in mind that we do have several options that we can really fit customers' needs there. So just like we talked about with all of our kits, this is carrier pre-approved, 72 dB gain, 1 watt consumer booster. That just means it's the most power output allowed by the FCC. Again, lifetime tech support, FCC certified, 3-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. The Fusion for Home is, it looks like okay, sorry about that. The Fusion for Home, like we said, is 4,000 square feet. The EZ4G, which is this one pictured here with that funny-looking circular antenna, is for areas up to 2,000 square feet. The main thing that sets the EZ4G apart from the Fusion for Home or other in-building kits is that it eliminates the need for a roof mount outside antenna. That circular antenna that you see in the picture on the right is actually designed to mount inside a window of your home or office. And so if you're in an apartment building or a condo or an office and you just don't have access to run cable and get an antenna up on the roof, you can mount this antenna in a window where you get some signal and bring that weak signal in and kind of boost it from there. So it's a very simple setup, plug and play. 3 main components. You've got that circular antenna that's window mounted. You've got the booster / inside antenna piece, which looks kind of like a Hershey's Kiss, and then you've got that cable length. Plug it in and you're good to go. So this optimizes booster performance without having to attenuate with dials or any manual controls. It's all automatic. This is kind of a quick view of how you could set up that booster. This is showing the EZ4G booster antenna in the window, connected to the desktop antenna with the cable that's included there, and you can see I've got the 30 feet minimum separation notated. That is line of sight separation, and so you always want to think about that when you have an outside antenna and you have inside antennas. You want to keep those two devices the minimum separation. On this one's 30 feet. On the Fusion for Home, it's more like 50 feet because it's a more powerful booster. But just think of it like a microphone and a speaker. If you get those too close together, you're going to get noise or feedback. Same thing here. This will start to create noise or feedback on the network if you get those too close together. And that just means that the booster will power down to prevent that. And so if you want that booster to work right, you really need to keep them at least 30 feet apart. This is the packaging for the EZ4G. You can see it's packaged for the US and Canada. It's got you know, the French-English packaging there. And it's a real clean look, you know, looks good on the shelf. The Flare is the third product that I wanted to talk about on the in-building side. This, of course, just like the other two, covers all carrier voice and data, 3G, 4G, LTE. All of those things are covered there. This is also 2,000 square feet, but this one is a little bit different than the EZ4G. This one does have an outside roof mount antenna with the cable connecting to the inside antenna and the booster. So it's just kind of the EZ4G flipped around to cover those other options or scenarios where someone can get an antenna on the roof, which is always a little bit better, frankly. But same concept, you know, same idea there. And you can see from this, you've got that same 30 feet separation minimum, and you've got the antenna on the roof connecting to the booster, and then plugged in, and you're good to go. Again, this is an easy plug-and-play scenario. This is the Flare in the box. Again, French-English packaging, you know, kind of the bullet points on the bottom, what this thing's all about, how much it will boost, how many users it supports. And by the way, the Flare and the EZ4G are 8 simultaneous users, which for a 2,000 square foot area is more than enough. Keep in mind that nothing has to actually pair or connect to anyone's phone. You set this thing up, and as far as anyone's phone is concerned, it's just getting a stronger signal. So in all respects, your phone probably just thinks it's closer to the cell tower. It's operating smoother, and your battery lasts longer, and your voice quality is better, your data speeds are faster. Everything just improves because of that signal strength. I want to shift gears now and get into the Mobil Booster. This is our Fusion to Go 2.0. Most of you are probably familiar with the Fusion to Go. The 2.0 is the same basic setup. It's just an upgrade. It's more powerful, more sleek. You'll notice the antenna is it's got a bigger, heavy-duty magnet mount, and the antenna itself is rubberized and shorter. So the old Fusion to Go, you know, the main first version of the Fusion to Go had a big, I want to say 8 or 10 inch, you know, metal whip antenna. This one's just shorter and more compact, but actually more powerful. So same simple plug and play setup. This, like the in-building stuff, works for all carriers, voice and 4G LTE data, and keeps you connected through dead zones. The idea with the Fusion to Go 2.0 is that it'll get you from one coverage area to the next through that dead zone, and this will actually extend your call ability about 25 to 30 miles as you're driving. So again, from one coverage area to the next and through the dead zone is the whole idea there. But in areas where you might have a weakened signal, this will just keep it strong. I actually have this in my car because of that commute issue that I told you, and I gotta say the Fusion to Go 2.0 is definitely a cut above the old Fusion to Go, though I liked that one too. This, like all of our other products, includes lifetime tech support. It's FCC certified, carrier approved, 3-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee. Everything is in the box that you need, and I've actually included a breakdown, a diagram of how that thing works. You can see the outside antenna on the roof connects to the booster, which is typically under the driver's seat or the passenger seat. It powers from the cigarette lighter or the DC power supply there in the car. And then you have an inside antenna that's located centrally, either on the shoulder or the armrest of the seat or the center console, and it just transmits that boosted signal into the vehicle. So it works like a charm, real easy to set up. And with the smaller antenna, you know, I would still recommend, because it's a magnum mount antenna, if you go through the car wash or something, that you just remember to remove it and put it inside until you get out. But it's probably okay. That smaller antenna is not as likely to get thrown off, even in the car wash. This is a picture of the package there, and you can see it'll sit real nicely on a shelf. Looks great. Goes through the bullet points of what this thing's all about, and it's a pretty compact little package there. So our in-house tech support is USA based. Hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's located out of our Fremont office. And the rumor is that in 2018 those hours will actually be extended, but I can't officially announce anything until that happens. But keep that on your radar. I've included the tech support toll-free number there in case you need to give it to any of your customers. And then, of course, the SureCall Digital Asset Library, I've included a link there. The Digital Asset Library is a really nice, handy tool. It allows you to view and download a wide variety of images, install diagrams, guides, spec sheets on all of our products. And if we have some time at the end, I'll actually jump in and kind of show you how to navigate that. This is a link that you can give to your customers and allow them to freely download anything and everything that they feel that they could use. As always, my name's Jason Hayes. I've got my email and my cell phone number there. You can get a hold of me most times. If not, I will call you back if I'm traveling or something like that. And again, I really appreciate your time, taking the time to be on this webinar. I will now take the last 5 or 10 minutes of this and answer any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you very much, Jason, for your wonderful presentation, and it looks like we do have some questions for you. You mentioned hours of support. Those hours, would that be phone call type hours, or can we also reach SureCall either via email or maybe even your online forum for discussing and going back and forth? Can you expand on that a little?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Yeah, those hours for tech support is just to reach them by phone, and we have a full-time staff in place to answer the phone for tech support issues. But yes, you can definitely email us with any issues anytime. Feel free to email myself, and I'll forward it along and kind of get in the loop to kind of handhold it through the process. Or you can actually email our tech support directly, and I believe that email is support@surecall.com, and they'll get back to you just as soon as they can. And typically a customer service ticket number is created, and you'll get a response really quickly. But yeah, we're available anytime to help you or your customer with anything you need.
Thank you, Jason. I know you discussed the EZ4G and the Fusion for Home and the difference between them. Can you reiterate what's the main difference between those two?
So there are actually a couple of differences. The Fusion for Home is a larger capacity, so it's up to 4,000 square feet, whereas the EZ4G is 2,000 square feet. And let me just go back in my slides here, and so that we have a picture of so this is the Fusion for Home, again up to 4,000 square feet, And if we compare that side by side with the EZ4G, the EZ4G is only 2,000 square feet. But other than that, they both boost signal for every phone, every carrier, 3G, 4G, LTE in the US and Canada. The other big difference is that, as you can see on the Fusion for Home, you've got an outside antenna, and that's, again, either a Yagi, a directional antenna, or an omnidirectional that just mounts vertically. And then we include, typically 4 domes or 4 panels with that kit. Excuse me. Whereas with the EZ4G, it's a smaller capacity, smaller square footage, and so it's just the one window mount antenna and then the one inside desk mount, or you can put that really on a table or a countertop anywhere you want to broadcast that boosted signal. So I would say the main differences there is the square footage, the coverage area, obviously the price. The EZ4G is priced less because it's a smaller coverage area, and the fact that with the EZ4G you don't have to mount an antenna outside on the roof. You can actually just mount it in the window there. And I hope that answers your question. I know I buzzed through that a little bit quickly.
That was fine. Thank you very much. I have another question here for you. In regards to the Fusion to Go 2.0, the outside antenna, can you tell us about how weather resistant it may be?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as you can see from the picture here, this antenna is completely rubberized. It's got a really powerful rare earth magnet in its base. It's designed to be on the roof of a vehicle all the time. The only time you might want to take it off, like I said, is if you're going through the car wash. Just to give you an idea, the Fusion to Go 2.0 was released, I want to say 5 or 6 months ago. And I've had a Fusion to Go 2.0 with this exact antenna on my vehicle that entire time. Now, I live in southern Utah. It gets pretty hot. We're in a desert climate. We're just a couple-hour drive north of Las Vegas, Nevada. So in the summertime, we're hitting 105 or 110 easily. It gets pretty hot, and that thing has been just fine on the roof of my vehicle all this time. Similarly, prior to that, I had the regular Fusion to Go for about a year on my vehicle with no problems. And when I switched over, it was still good to go. I actually gave the old one to my wife. So these are designed to withstand the elements. I've never heard anyone complain about that.
Thank you very much. Next question for you. Can you talk about what SureCall may be able to offer that your competitors cannot?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a slide in this particular presentation that addresses this, but the biggest thing that I would say sets SureCall apart from competitors is we go the extra mile, not only on service and support, but also in the manufacturing, the upfront engineering process behind the product. And I have a slide that I'll put in a future presentation to help you visualize this more clearly. But if you break out, bust open the case of a SureCall booster and set it alongside a comparable booster of a competitor, you'll see that the circuit board, you have circuitry to boost each and every frequency on the cellular level. So for a cell phone frequency, for a booster, the newer ones have 5 different bands that they're boosting between 3G, 4G, and the different LTE frequencies. And those are separate components on the circuit board. You'll actually be able to see on the SureCall booster, those are separated by ceramic filters. So it actually looks like a little wall, almost a castle wall around the components, the circuitry. And if you look at a competitor's circuit board, it's almost indistinguishable from a clock radio or something that you might pull a circuit board out of. There's no filtering. So you can see that at a glance, just looking at the circuit board, you can see that we've really put a lot of time and effort into making it right up front so that your calls are clear, there's no overlap in frequency boosting, everything is cleaner and sharper and performs better for a lot longer. That's why we can offer a 3-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's the top number one thing that comes to my mind. We're also very customer service oriented, and every customer that I talk to raves about our service and how we go the extra mile above and beyond. We're getting to be a larger company, but we're still really, really aware of customer needs. We're nimble when it comes to product changes or customer satisfaction, so we can get replacement parts out to you quickly and make design changes fairly quickly if needed as well.
Thank you, Jason. Excellent. And my next question sort of refers to what you just mentioned. What is a typical turnaround time for a replacement unit if an RMA is needed?
Great question. Yeah, typically 2 to 3 business days is our turnaround on something like that. We can issue an RMA the same day and via email even send a return shipping label if it's a situation where we need to do that and get it back quickly. But once that RMA is issued, we can typically send the replacement before the old product is shipped back to us, just depending on the scenario. But yeah, typically 2 to 3 business days.
Thank you for that. Next question. Is there anything that can interrupt these devices' functionality or signal? For example, the Fusion for Home, is it susceptible to interferences by other equipment in the home like wireless routers, etc.?
That's a great question. The answer to that is no. A wireless router for Wi-Fi is a totally different frequency, and so there shouldn't be any interference in that regard. The ceramic filters in our circuitry keep them fairly well protected from anything that might cause interference, but things like your TV and your Wi-Fi, even if you have, a TV antenna that's a different frequency than your cellular, so it should be fine. The only thing that really could interrupt the performance of this device is if the antennas are too close and they start to create noise or feedback on the network, the system is designed to protect the carrier cell site from that. So it'll actually power itself down or shut itself off if you have an oscillation. And in cases like that, usually we get a call from tech support and we'll have our tech kind of walk a customer through, hey, what do the lights look like? What are they doing? Are they blinking yellow? Are they blinking red? And then typically it's a matter of just getting those antennas far enough apart that everything lights up green and we're good to go.
Thank you, Jason. I have a couple more questions for you. Can one simply add multiple devices if the coverage is not large enough?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. These kits are designed to be stackable. So, let's take the Fusion for Home, for example, and let's say that, maybe you have an 8,000 square foot home and you don't want to spend the big bucks to get a real large industrial strength booster. Maybe you already have one Fusion for Home and you just want to add a second one. You can absolutely do that. And the only thing you have to keep in mind is you've still got that line of sight separation that you've got to keep between antennas, and that's consistent even if you have 2 devices. So the second device, you wouldn't want to put the antennas too close to the antennas of the first device. But other than that, yes, they're designed to be used in conjunction with one another, and you could literally break up an office building into 4,000 square foot cells, if you will, or grids, and have a Fusion for Home in each one of those areas, and it would work terrifically fine.
Thank you, Jason. I think I have one last question here. In regards to the Fusion for Home, The omnidirectional antenna, is it just as good as the Yagi, or what is the difference with those?
Great question. Yeah, the omnidirectional antenna is just as powerful. The only drawback you have, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a drawback, the difference that you have is that the omnidirectional antenna is bringing in signals from all carriers in the area simultaneously, whereas the Yagi or the directional antenna, a lot of guys consider it to be slightly more powerful only because it can zero in on the nearest cell tower. It's still picking up signals from every carrier around, but it can zero in on the nearest cell tower. So if you're in a scenario where you specifically want to zero in on Verizon, even though it's going to boost signal for everyone, you want to make sure that Verizon is boosted, the best. You can aim that directional Yagi at the nearest Verizon tower, and that signal will really come through like no other. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
It's just a matter of zeroing in on the cell tower. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for answering those questions. And if anyone attending today's webinar has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned here today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Jason, for your time and your presentation today. We greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. Thanks, Microcom team. We'll see you next time.
You're welcome.